All right, good evening, everybody. If you joined us during the 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock session, welcome back. If you're just logging in now, thank you for logging in, and hopefully we have some useful information for you tonight. Congratulations on being admitted to Rowan, and we hope to see you on campus this fall as the class of 2018. You should be honored. My name is Dave Nafee. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions here at Rowan. And then we have a representative from Financial Aid, Ms. Pamela Gordy, who's going to help us out as well. And we're hoping to get all of your admissions and financial aid questions answered for you over this next hour. How we'll work it, I'm going to go through some information, PowerPoint slides for the Office of Admissions, and then we'll move on to the financial aid portion. As we're speaking, feel free to type in questions. And then at the end of our presentations, we'll go through and just answer all of the questions that you have typed in, and hopefully we'll give you a lot of information during this. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Again, congratulations on your acceptance. You are part of a very strong academic class this year, and you should be very proud that you got admitted. This year we had a very strict admissions requirements, and it was very competitive to get in. Very highly selective. We had more than 12,000 applications this year. The average GPA of our admitted freshmen so far is a 3.65 on a 4.0 scale, and the average SAT score, just going off the math and critical reading, is a 1202. So again, it was very highly selective, and you should be proud of yourself for getting in. So the common question could be, all right, I'm admitted to Rowan, what do I do next? And that's what I'm hoping that my presentation will help you out a little bit on. We're going to refer you to the Acceptance Students webpage, talk about how to deposit to Rowan and secure your spot in the class, how to register for housing, what placement exams that you have to take, orientation dates, as well as the dates for move-in day. Okay, so once you're admitted, we're going to direct you to an Accepted Students website. It's called After You've Been Accepted, and basically you just go to rowan.edu, click on Undergraduate Admissions, and then you will see this site right there. Once you click on that, you can click on Admitted Freshmen, and all the information, all the documentation, forms you need to fill out, dates for orientation, all of that will be right there. So it's a great resource for you to use. Before you do anything, it's imperative that you deposit and secure your spot in the freshman class. To do so, you must fill out the enrollment confirmation form. This was sent to you with your acceptance letter, and you need to fill this out, submit it back to the Office of Admissions along with your $100 deposit, and that will secure your spot, and this must be done before May 1st. So before you can apply for housing and pick your orientation date, all of that, you can't do any of that until once you've deposited to Rowan, so make sure to get that in as soon as you decide that Rowan's the place to be. All right, so you've deposited to Rowan. What most students will do next is register for housing if you're looking to live on campus. To do so, once you submit the enrollment deposit form, you're going to log back onto that Accepted Students website, click on Admitted Freshmen, and there will be a spot for housing and meal plans. You click on that link and it will give you directions on how to register for housing. And you will have to, in addition to register for housing, submit a $200 housing deposit, and also they'll ask for you to review the mandatory housing policy just so that you're aware of what's going on and what we expect of you when you're living in university housing. Once you register for housing, you can apply for orientation dates. Orientation registration is not open until April 4th. So if you've already deposited to Rowan and you're trying to choose an orientation date, it's not open yet. Wait until April 4th and then you can log back in. Just like register for housing, you have to go back online to the After You've Been Accepted webpage, and then you're going to click on the orientation link and it will give you all the directions that you need in order to apply and request a date for orientation. Freshman orientation is required for all first year and transfer students. There's also a parent and family orientation that's held separately from student orientation. So if you're coming to campus with your parents, they will have their own separate track to go on to during orientation, and there'll be information pertinent to them as well as the students will go on their own track and there'll be information pertinent to the individual students. There is a $175 orientation fee, so be aware of that when you register online. You will have to submit the orientation fee in order to hold your date. And on the next slide here, we have the orientation dates. As you can see here, we have 5 sessions ranging from late June until into July. Usually in the past, they've always just been in June. We understand that we've had a lot of snow days this year. Hopefully we won't have any more, but the snow days have pushed back a lot of graduation, so we're now offering orientation dates into July in order to accommodate your high school graduations. The orientation dates are first come, first serve, so register early, deposit and register early, and you'd have more of a chance of getting the date that you're hoping to come for orientation. As far as placement testing goes, placement tests are required for all incoming students. There are ways to test out of the placement test. The ones that are required, we require reading comprehension as well as an elementary algebra. For the reading comprehension, if you scored higher than a 550 on your SAT critical reading portion or higher than a 25 on the ACT reading portion, then you can test out. You don't have to take that placement exam. For the elementary algebra, it's the same thing. If you had a 550 or higher on the math portion of your SAT or a 25 or above on the ACT on the math portion, then you can test out of that. The other test that is required is college level mathematics. This is required for majors or students going into biological sciences, business, chemistry, computer science, mathematics, and physical science. So if you're going into those majors, you would have to take the college level mathematics placement exam. If you scored a C or higher in AP Calculus in high school, you can be exempt from this exam, the college level mathematics. However, you would have to submit your transcripts to the math department proving that you got a C or higher in AP Calculus. Okay, so when and where to test. We offer testing in our testing center, which is on the 3rd floor of Savitz Hall. Savitz Hall is located right on 322. If you came for a campus tour, the Office of Admissions is in Savitz Hall. It's actually right upstairs from us, so if you're familiar with that building, that's where you can take the test. They administer the test every Monday and Wednesday up until April 30th, and on a walk-in basis from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. If for whatever reason you can't make it during that time frame, we understand you have school schedules or work schedules that prohibit you to make it during that time frame. You just call the testing center and they can make an appointment with you to come on campus and take your testing, your placement tests. Some cool things happening this year at Rowan University. We froze undergraduate tuition and fees. We were also designated the 2nd comprehensive research institution in New Jersey. It's Rowan and Rutgers University are the only 2. So if you're interested in any of the science or you want to do paid research assistantships, it's really going to be a good spot for you to be. We're ranked by U.S. News and World Report. We just completed a Marriott Hotel courtyard and conference center on our campus on Rowan Boulevard. And so if mom and dad ever want to come down and visit their students, it's going to be a spot for you to stay. I'm sure all the students love that. We received a $117 million state fund this year to expand our colleges of business and engineering. So over the next couple of years, you're going to be seeing some new buildings going up for those programs. We just developed a School of Biomedical Sciences. We're offering a PhD program now in cell and molecular biology. And we're also ranked as far as being one of the most friendly schools for students that are veterans. So that's something that we're very proud of. So again, just wanted to point that out. There are a lot of neat things happening here at Rowan University, and hopefully you can come here and continue the tradition of being able to grow this university. We're going to get into this a little bit more during the financial aid presentation. I just wanted to go over the numbers. These are the annual costs for the 2012-2013 school year. As you can see, the in-state total for those of you that are coming from in-state, and then the out-of-state total for those of you coming from out-of-state. We offer financial aid. A lot of our students qualify for financial aid. On top of that, some of you might have qualified for a merit award that'll help you out a little bit there as well. But I won't go too far in depth on this slide because we'll talk about different ways you can get some money to come here in a little bit. Just some fast facts to go through with you. If you're interested in playing a sport, we are NCAA Division III. As far as D3 sports go, we're usually one of the premier schools in the country. Just about every year we have a team going for a national title championship. If you're interested in playing a sport, you can log online and fill out a student profile. That gets sent to the coach and they can contact you. They do recruit, so you want to be proactive. Contact, email, call the coach, send them game film. I know football requires game film, and your schedule so they can come out and watch you. In addition to varsity sports, we have a ton of club and intramural sports that you can take part into. I guarantee if you don't want to play a sport, you'll end up at a football game or a basketball game. It's a really cool atmosphere as far as the NCAA sports go. Dining options, we have a ton of places to eat on campus. We also have a program called Borough Bucks where you can eat off campus. Pretty much unlimited dining here. If you're in the mood for a certain type of food, you should be able to find that food here. We do have more than 200 study abroad programs in over 50 countries. So if you're interested in going overseas, that's going to be an opportunity for you. Greek life, we have 24 fraternities and sororities that you can take part in. Student life, we had in our last session, they went in depth about our student life department. Again, we know college is not only about the studying, it's also about the experience, so we're pretty much giving you every opportunity here to get involved. If you don't have your own computer, that's okay. We have a ton of computer labs here on campus that you can take part in. The rec center is phenomenal, and we do have an honors program that you can take advantage of if you're interested. Basically, you would just apply as a regular freshman. The honors department will send you an invite to apply directly to the honors program if you qualify. That concludes the admissions portion of this. Come on campus and take a tour. We do tours Monday through Friday, every day at 11 a.m. Select Saturdays throughout the year, and we also have several open houses throughout the year. So you want to know what the campus looks and feels like before you decide whether or not to spend 4 years of your life here. So we urge you to come on campus and check us out for yourself. We also have a virtual tour online. If you go to rowan.edu, click on the virtual tour tab, it looks like you're walking through campus from home, so that's a great resource to use. And of course, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So I'm going to turn this over to Pamela Gordy. She's going to talk about financial aid, and then after that, we'll go through and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Once again, welcome and thank you. Congratulations again. We'd like to talk about what's next step to financial aid and how to continue applying the process in financial aid. Hopefully by now you've completed the free application for federal student aid, which is the FAFSA. And you've completed it by putting Rowan as one of your top 10 choices on your FAFSA. And you're going to complete the FAFSA, but use the Rowan student code, which is 002609, as one of the top 10. The reason why we want the top 10 is because then the state, HESA, Higher Education Student Assistance Authority, will be the first, you'll be amongst the first to receive your information as well. So that's the first step, and hopefully that is already completed. This week is a very popular week for us because we have a deadline date of March 15th. Once you've had a priority date of March 15th, if you've submitted your FAFSA by March 15th, then we have sent you yesterday a preliminary award letter. If you've received the preliminary award letter, that means you're going to get awards listed in E-status, estimated status, based on a cost of attendance that we have in our system from last year, 2013, 2014. Until we get our numbers official in June, we will have these estimated awards subject pending until mid-June. What will happen next is you've received a SAR, a student aid report, at the end of your FAFSA. The SAR gives you an expected family contribution number and a little asterisk. The federally mandated verification process uses documentation to confirm that the information that you provided on the FAFSA is true and complete. So we want to make sure that 30% of the people chosen, or our students chosen, but verification gets all of their information in to us effectively and efficiently. The question usually that's risen when you're selected verification is, how do I know I'm selected verification? You will know that you were selected verification by the asterisk on the SAR, Student Aid Report. But you're selected usually either randomly or if there's any incomplete information on your FAFSA. Another frequently asked question during the verification process is how will you know what additional documentation is required? And the additional documentation is usually required to, if you will know, because we're going to send you information in a form of another missing information correspondence in the mail that states what information we need in addition to what you've already submitted, which was your FAFSA. We're moving towards, this is the age of technology, we're moving towards email and using your student aid self-service account. Your self-service account is really where we want to list all of the tracking documents that we need for you to submit if you're selected verification. I mentioned HESA earlier. HESA is the state guarantor. They're the state authority that allows you to receive what's called a tuition and aid grant. It is necessary if you're a resident of New Jersey for at least 12 months, the last 12 months specifically, that you submit additional information to the state that allows them to determine if you're eligible for state aid, which is the tuition and aid grant. If you need to log into the HESA site, you're going to log into www.hesaa.org. After you log in, you're going to click on the welcome page, but make sure you register with the HESA site first. Then there's a small portion at the bottom that asks you to report additional information. You're going to actually click on that link. And the questions that the state requires to complete your verification, every resident of New Jersey has to do this if you want to see if you're eligible for additional state funding. In order to maintain a state tuition and aid grant, you have to be enrolled full-time. Once in June, you'll go into your self-service portal. Right now, you're going to get a preliminary award letter through the mail. But once your official award letter is available to you, it will be in your self-service portal. And when you log into self-service, you will go to www.rowan.edu/self-service. We ask that then you click on the login, after you log in, you click on the financial aid tab. Click on award, then award for aid year. There's a little drop box and it'll give you each award year. You're going to say 2014-15, click submit, and then you'll see your award offers no longer an estimated status, but an offer status for you to let us know if you want all of your awards and you're going to accept them. A very, very important piece to financial aid is if you're offered loans, you will have what's called subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans. Subsidized is based on need, so your EFC number will be the determining factor whether you will receive a subsidized loan or not. And then unsub is not need-based, and if you don't have any need available, then you will have all unsubsidized loans available to you. Either way, you must complete a master promissory note and entrance counseling in order to continue the processing of a student loan. The master promissory note and entrance counseling can both be completed at www.studentloans.gov. This concludes the proportion of the financial aid portion of our session today.
Great. And I see that we have a lot of questions. From the admission standpoint, I was just trying to go over information that you would need once you've already been accepted. But if you still have questions about your major or about Rowan in general, please feel free to ask them, even though I didn't include that in the presentation. So I'm going to go through and read off some of the questions, and we'll provide you answers. Feel free to keep submitting questions, and we'll stay here and answer them and make sure that all of you get answers to your questions. So the first question we're receiving is, when should we expect to receive the preliminary financial aid award package?
Basically, if your FAFSA has been completed by March 15th, your preliminary award package was in the mail to you yesterday. We will make sure award packages are in the mail every Wednesday following.
Great. The next question that came in, if you are a New Jersey resident, are there any in-state grants awards available?
The in-state grants that are available to you is the tuition and aid grant, and they are available by registering or signing into www.hesaa.org.
Next question I see, can a freshman 18 years old student get a student loan without a cosigner?
The answer to that is definitely yes. It would be an unsub or subsidized loan, but there are loan limits. Usually those loan limits are not enough for you to borrow, and usually it requires you then to ask a parent to complete a Parent Plus loan to fulfill the rest of the cost of attendance here.
Okay. Moving on to the next question. I'm going to need to get student loans. Will Rowan help me through this process?
Absolutely. If you have any questions regarding the loan process or just any questions regarding additional funding, please visit your financial aid counselor. They're you are their counselor based on your last name. So you would come to our front counter and just ask for the counselor that has your last name, pretty much, of the alphabet.
Yeah. And the financial aid office is located right in Savitz Hall as well, on the first floor. So you can meet with admissions, go get your testing done, meet with financial aid. Everything's in the same building for you. Okay. Next question here. Can we get a letter to excuse our absence from school to take placement tests? As far as the placement testing goes, I'm assuming. Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, if you stop by the admissions office or the testing office, we'll have letters for you to hand back to your guidance counselors or somebody at your school to let them know that you were here taking a test or you were here taking a tour, so that way they don't think that you're just cutting out of school. We'll give you a signed letter letting them know that you are here. Next question. Will we receive any emails or letters on whether we have to take placement tests or not? I don't believe so. I think it just, when you log on to the after I've been accepted page and click on placement test, just all the guidelines will be there on whether or not you have to take a test. All you'll have to do basically is see if you have 550 or higher on critical reading, then you no longer have to take the reading comprehension test. If you have a 550 or higher on the math portion of the SAT, you won't have to take the math, elementary algebra exam. And if you have a C or higher in AP calculus, then you won't have to take the college math placement test. And that's just for students who are going into some of the sciences and the math majors. But you won't receive any formal letter in the mail letting you know whether or not you have to take them. Just log on to the website, read the requirements, and if you meet the requirements that you are exempt, then you won't have to take them. And of course, you can always contact the testing center, and they'll be able to help you out as well, letting you know if you should take them or not. Okay, next question. Are there any practices for placement testing? If not, how do we prepare for the placement testing? If you log on to the testing website, there might be some information as far as practicing for the placement test, but I don't believe there's any formal practice for the placement test that you can go, and it's not like SAT when you take a prep class. This placement test is just basically to see where you're at as far as knowledge-wise in those subject areas. so we can place you into an appropriate level class your freshman year. So it's nothing to worry about, but certainly refer to the Testing Center webpage or contact them directly to ask if there's any additional resources they can give you for the placement tests. Moving on here. What are the Greek sororities that the university has? I believe there are a total of 13 sororities. I don't have them all memorized by name, but if you go onto our website again and you go to the student activities page, there will be a link for Greek life, and all of the Greek life that we have will be listed there, so you can check out the different sororities and fraternities that we have to offer and see if any of them are interest you. And Greek life is a big part of our campus, so if you're interested in taking part in that, it does have a big place on this campus. Do you have opportunities for work study, and how much does it pay?
Work study is available to continuing students only at this time. The application for work study is on the federal free application for federal student aid, which is the FAFSA. So if you've checked yes to that question that you would like to receive it, it's not currently offered to first year freshmen. However, that policy can change at any time, so if it's yes on your FAFSA, you're in a good place to receive it. It's usually only relatively $1,500 a year, so you would split that in two, $750 in the fall and $750 in the spring if you were awarded it.
Great. I'm going to ask a piggyback question off of that. Do we offer institutional work study if somebody doesn't qualify for federal?
Absolutely. There's institutional work study funds available based on the department that you're seeking to work for. That is definitely available. You would definitely go into the department that you or place of employment that you would like to work, and they will pretty much the person in charge of work study for that department will point you in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a really good benefit. If you don't qualify for federal work study, that doesn't mean that you can't work on campus. We have plenty of offices on campus that can still hire you even if you don't qualify for work study. Okay, that's a good question. Along here. Do we need to fill out the FAFSA?
Pretty much, if you want federal student aid of any kind, you will need to fill out the FAFSA. But you don't need, and I don't know where the question is headed, but if you do not want to fill out the FAFSA, there are options to, for alternative loans especially, for you to apply for and fund your education.
Next question, because of the changes at Gloucester County College, will classes transfer to Rowan in order to major in biology? The answer is yes, and it's not just Gloucester County College. If you're planning on going to any of the community colleges in New Jersey, since we're a state institution, we work very well with all the community colleges. If you're taking classes at the community college level for a year or so and you want to transfer in, as long as you do well and get credit for that course, we'll most likely find a place for it. So it's generally, we're very welcoming to credits from community colleges. So if you want to transfer in, it's usually not that big of a deal or a big problem to transfer the credits in. You're considered a transfer student once you have 12 credits completed, but at that point we still need your high school transcripts and SAT scores. If you go to a community college and you complete 24 credits at the time of your application, then we just look at the college application or the college transcript and base our decision for admissions off of that. But like I said, as long as you're going to a community college in New Jersey and you're doing well in the class and you pass and you get credit for it, it's usually not that big of a problem to have them transfer over into Rowan. Next question is, when do we get our financial aid award notification and how do we get it?
You will get your financial award preliminary this week and thereafter every Wednesday, and you get it via U.S. Postal Service.
So be checking your mailbox shortly. This is just another question about when and how they receive the financial aid award notification. So that's being mailed out now, so just be checking your mailboxes. Next question, where can we find scholarships?
Scholarships, fastweb.com. I usually use that as a creative tool because it's been very helpful to students who have unusual living circumstances or just situations. I have a single mom that I am aware of who submitted over 11,000 applications from fastweb.com. And she was able to pretty much use donor scholarships to pay for the first 2 years of her education. So it really is, get used to the copy and paste of an essay and use your essay to look for various scholarships on websites like fastweb.com. There are other links to scholarship websites on our webpage under the financial aid tab. If you go to rowan.edu /financial aid.
When and how should I request to change my major? Thank you for that question. A lot of students will change their major if they apply for one that they're not absolutely sure that they want. When you come on campus for orientation in June or early July, at each orientation we have something called a major minor fair. And basically you'll meet with a representative, either myself or somebody else from the admissions office. At that point you'll say which major that you want to change into, and we'll make sure that you meet the requirements to change into that program, and then we'll switch you in right there at orientation. So for right now, you just sit tight with your current major. Once you come to orientation, you'll meet with an admissions representative, and we'll be happy to change your major as long as you qualify for that program. Next question. You guys are asking really good questions here. Okay, let me read this. Okay, it's about placement exams. This person has a 600 on the critical reading and a 670 on the mathematics, and is currently in has an A in AP Calculus, so they want to know if they're exempt from placement tests. Yes. You'll be exempt from the reading comprehension and the elementary algebra placement exam, and then you would have to send in your transcript showing that you have an A in AP Calculus, just so they know and don't make you come in for that placement exam. Okay, the next question is, does Rowan offer need-based grants?
Need-based grants that we offer currently are just the federal grant. So there isn't a need-based grant that we offer specifically from Rowan. But the grant that we do offer that's need-based is the Pell Grant and the SEOG grant. In the range between for the Pell Grant is anywhere from $600 to $5,730, and for the SEOG grant is $350. So of course, if you're awarded the maximum need-based Pell Grant for the aid year, it would be split in half. So you would split in half to $5,730 if you had the maximum, and that's all need-based based on the EFC on your FAFSA.
How can a student find a job on campus to cut down on the cost of attending? It's a great question. In September, when you come on campus for the first semester of your freshman year, they have a jobs fair over in the Student Center where different departments who are hiring student workers will be over there, and we'll let you know a little bit about their organization. And a lot of the organizations or different departments on campus will hire student workers. For instance, admissions, we have about 80 student workers right now that are tour guides or they're doing office work for us, and we hire every semester. So, you know, if you're interested in getting a job in admissions, you would just walk right in to the admissions office, say that you're interested in getting a job, and we'll give you an application. In addition to that, we opened up Rowan Boulevard, And this is a road connecting main campus Rowan to downtown Glassboro. It's within walking distance, and they're bringing in a bunch of outside vendors, restaurants, coffee houses, stores, and they're focusing on hiring student workers as well. So if you don't get a job directly right on campus, there are a lot of places within walking distance of campus that students can work as well in order to help cut down the cost of college. Next question. If I have not received any information as of yet regarding state aid, only federal aid, should I assume that I would not be receiving state aid?
Not at all. As I mentioned earlier, I would advise you to please log into the HESA website. That's at www.hesaa.org, and complete the additional reporting questions. There's a small link at the bottom right-hand corner of the website. Log in, complete the additional questions, and you will receive correspondence from them via U.S. Postal Service directly. They will not allow us to put the information in for you. So you have to log into their website to become eligible for the funding based on answering the additional questions.
Okay, the question is, if I apply for housing, can I change my mind later and decide to commute? Yes, you can. You can apply for housing and then later change your mind and decide to commute. That's fine. Just be aware when you give your $200 housing deposit, it is non-refundable, so there's a chance that you will lose that $200. But if you do apply for housing, you use deposit, secure your spot, and then over the summer you have a change of heart, you can certainly opt out and decide to commute. It's up to you. Okay, do I wait for my final financial aid package before I register for HESA?
No, we advise you to log into their website as soon as you can to finish those questions so that they can determine. And by July 1st, their numbers will match ours and we can get you an official award letter as quickly as possible. They're sending us a state roster every Tuesday based on 14-15 academic year right now. So we need to make sure we have the right numbers for you to get on your final award package as soon as possible. So if you could log in right now, that would be the best route to go.
Okay, next question. A lot of questions here. That's good.
It is.
How much time do the placement tests take? That will vary by student to student, depending on how fast you get it done, but on average, students are usually done each placement test in about an hour. So if you have to take 2 of the placement tests, I would plan on being up there for about 2 hours taking the test. So I would give yourself about an hour for each one is usually about the average time. But if you finish sooner, then you finish sooner. Okay. Next question. When do I need to commit to attending Rowan? Is it May 1st? Yes. You would have to submit your deposit by May 1st, your enrollment deposit. And again, to do this, you would just submit your enrollment confirmation form that came with your acceptance letter, along with $100 through check or money order to the Office of Admissions, and then we'll secure your spot. And then once you do that, then you're able to go on and register for housing, orientation, placement test, all of that. But until we get your deposit, you can't do any of the other things that we mentioned. But yes, you're right. You have up until May 1st to decide whether or not to come. What are the testing dates for placement tests again? Placement testing dates, they're every Monday and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And you can do them up until, you can do them now until April 30th is the deadline. But generally, they extend it past the April 30th date. So if you can't make it from now to April 30th, just call testing services and make an appointment. Then you can come whenever it's convenient for you to take your placement exam. Next question. We have received a preliminary award letter. This person is a full-time employee of Rowan, and CWA tuition reimbursement still available to cover tuition, and if so, which grants and scholarships would be affected, if any? And then there's a second part, if so, who would we contact to get the aid numbers reevaluated?
Your financial aid counselor, based on your last name again, is how we determine who your financial aid counselor is. So that's the best way to answer that question for now. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, there's two questions here for financial aid. First question, I received the preliminary financial aid notice today, and it mentioned several times to use a student email account. I'm assuming this is provided through Rowan, not my personal email. When will accepted freshmen have access to these online self-service portals? And then the second part of the question, also I have an outside scholarship I wish to apply for that requests contact information for a financial aid counselor at the school. What info should I put in this section, such as name or email? For the first question about the Rowan email, I'm not exactly sure when they give you. Do you have information on that?
You become credentialed at the time that you receive. There's a, well, they would have had to pay their deposit.
Okay, so once you pay your deposit, it triggers the email account?
Right.
If you want, since we don't have a
Clear
answer for you, my email address is Nafi, N as in Nancy, A, P as in Paul, HY, @rowan.edu. Send me an email, and then tomorrow when I'm in the office, I'll get the answer for you and email you right back so we can have a more clear answer for you.
Right. You clearly have to be credentialed in order to log into your self-portal. We just need to determine if you're credentialed after you receive your student ID number on your acceptance package or after your deposit. There was another part of your question that I wanted to answer. You stated outside of your scholarship, I wish to apply for that request. Any outside scholarships you can now forward to Joanne Fisher in the financial aid office. So her name is again Joanne Fisher, F as in Frank, I, S as in Sam, H-E-R, and her email address is fisher@rowan.edu for any outside scholarships as a contact information.
And again, Brianna, if you could shoot me over an email with the first part of your question, and I'll make sure to get you an answer to that right away when I'm in tomorrow. Do I have to fill out the FAFSA every year?
Yes, every year, January 1st, the FAFSA is available for the next upcoming academic year. So currently, at this time of year, there's two. There's a 13-14 for students who are continuing in the summer, but then there's a 14-15. So I always try to advise students to make sure they click on the correct one. But you're going to complete it every year. January 1st is the beginning of the new academic year.
Is there a deadline that must be met while filling out the HESA?
Yes, July 1st is their first cutoff deadline for the fall. July 1st, 2014.
If I'm a commuting student, can any of my expenses for commuting, such as gas, be reimbursed by excess grant money from Rowan Scholars Program?
That's kind of a trick question. Let's see. Technically, yes, because any awards are on your account. They are dispersed to you, but it's not, any money is dispersed on your account is going to be towards your tuition, aid, your tuition, all of your, that's a very trick question. Do me a favor, if you could please give me a call at the number to your right on our screen, 856-256-4281. I'd like to explain that in more detail, how the Rowan Scholar Program is applied to your account, and to see if specifically, Ross, your award package has any other aid on it, because it would determine the answer a little differently. It would make the answer different.
Great. Thank you, Ross. Yeah, and just make sure to contact Pamela and we'll get you an answer to that right away. Can you repeat the scholarship website?
Oh, fastweb.com. Fastweb. FASTWEB.com.
Oh, this is another one for the scholarship website. Again, it's fastweb.com. It's going to be a very popular website. Are the placement exams applicable to physics majors? As far as taking the placement exam, I think physics was one of those programs that you would have to have AP Calculus C or higher to test out of it. But I'm not too sure about the actual questions that are on the placement exam, whether or not there's physics questions on there. And that would be another a question for the testing center. So if you just contact them or go to the testing website, they might be able to help you out a little bit more. If I haven't decided where to go, should I still take the placement test? Also, can you repeat the orientation dates again? Thank you. It's up to you. I mean, it'll be nice if last minute you do decide to come to Rowan, that you already have the placement test taken care of and you don't have to rush around to get things done. But I can also understand if you decide not to come to Rowan, you don't want to have to spend your time down here taking the placement test. So it's up to you. I mean, the placement tests go on until April 30th. You have to decide whether or not to come to Rowan by May 1st anyway. So if you want to wait until that last week and whenever you do decide to come to Rowan, you just come on down and take the test. You can certainly do that. And again, they also extend the date past April 30th if you need to make an appointment. So you can wait until you decide whether or not Rowan's the place for you, deposit, and then just make it an appointment with them at a later date to take the placement test. So it's up to you, but certainly either way would work for us. Oh, as far as the orientation dates, let me go back on the slides to on your screen here, and I'll bring back up the orientation dates. And again, after April 4th is when you can start registering for orientation dates, and you would do that through the Accepted Students website. And there are the dates listed right there: Wednesday, June 25th, and Thursday, June 26th. Monday, July 7th, and Tuesday, July 8th. July 10th and July 11th. July 13th, July 14th. And July 16th and July 7th. Okay, I completed my FAFSA app in mid-February, but I haven't received a letter yet. Does this mean that I am not eligible for federal aid?
Absolutely not. There's two things that could be wrong, or there could just be a pending preliminary award letter coming your way. But if you don't receive a preliminary award letter right away, it just could mean that if I don't know if you have access to your SAR, your student aid report would let you know if there was a rejected ICER, some missing information that we need in addition, which makes your ICER or your FAFSA incomplete. If that's the case, then you can just give us a call. If you feel like between now and next Friday you don't receive a preliminary award letter, please give us a call so we can let you know why you haven't received it.
As a freshman, is there a specific residence hall that I must apply for? The answer is no. You would just apply for housing. We have 6 freshman-only resident halls, so all of our freshmen will live together. We want to make sure that you're not living with students who are sophomores and juniors and have already gone through the transition from high school to college. We want you living with like students as yourself. And depending on if you're in a certain learning community or certain requests that you have, they'll place you into the resident hall for your freshman year. There's not one specifically that you apply for, but we do have 6 freshman-only resident halls. Okay. If you're interested in pursuing a minor, when would you need to make that decision, and what would be the process for getting into a minor program? Very good question, and a lot of our students, actually most of our students, will choose a minor. You wouldn't do this right away. Once you have the minor that you are interested in pursuing, you would let your advisor know. So every semester throughout your college career, you're going to meet with your advisor, and they'll help you schedule classes. And then once you know what minors to add, you would just let your advisor know, and they'll make sure to put you into that minor. Okay, I've sent my enrollment confirmation with $100 fee about a week ago. When will I receive confirmation about this, and what is next? You won't receive anything in the mail confirming that you've sent your enrollment deposit in. You can always call our office at 856-256-4200 and just make sure that we did receive it. But you'll also know if you log on to the Accepted Students page on our website, if it allows you to apply for housing and orientation, then you'll know that we did receive it, because if we hadn't received it, it would allow you to do that. But yeah, the next steps after we receive your deposit will be go online to the website and apply for housing and pick an orientation date, as well as doing the placement testing. Okay, the next question is, when are we supposed to register for classes? This will actually be done at your freshman orientation. So once you register for orientation, pick the date, you'll come on campus during that orientation day, and you'll actually meet with your advisor right then at orientation, sit down with them, and choose your classes for the fall semester. The question is, if I don't commit until May 1, how can I meet the April 30 deadline for testing? It's always a tricky one, and one that I've always scratched my head about as well. But just know that if you end up depositing on the May 1st date and you didn't take your placement test yet, they'll extend it, so they'll allow you to take the placement test. So you might just have to let them know and make an appointment whatever day that you're available. So, but I've always wondered that myself. But yeah, you have until April 30th really is the deadline for placement testing. But again, if you apply or if you deposit the day after that, you certainly will be able to still take your placement exam. If we were taking AP Calculus during our senior year, do we wait until the end of the year to send our transcripts to the math department for exemption for college level mathematics placement test? Yeah, you can contact the math department. What they'll probably have you do is send your transcript now, just proving that you're taking the placement exam, and then they'll just want to see that you got a C or higher at the end of the year. So you'll resend your final transcripts to them at the end of the year so they can make sure that you got a C or higher in that class. We'll take a couple more questions. These are all great questions, but we do have another session beginning at 7 p.m. So for the people waiting for that, we'll have to cut this a little bit short, so we'll take a few more questions here. The next question again was, when are we supposed to register for classes? And this will be done at orientation. So just select your orientation date when you come on campus. For those dates, you'll meet with your advisor and schedule classes. Do electrical, computer engineering, if you're entering freshman in those programs, do you need to take placement test? Yes, all students need to take placement test, but if you meet the requirements to test out, then you won't have to. But it doesn't matter what major you're in, you would have to take placement test unless you meet those requirements. Will Rowan pay for airfare for students to come and take placement tests? The answer is, I believe, no. I've never had this question before, so that's really good. But I do believe if you call the testing center, they do have an option where they might be able to offer you the placement test online. So you're just going to want to contact the testing center or go to the website. They might have more on this, but they do have ways to accommodate students that might not be from New Jersey or within driving distance of the campus. Can you put the fees tuition page up again? Certainly. Oops, I think I went the wrong way. Okay, these are the costs. Remember, this is for the 2012-2013 year. This fall we'll be entering the 2014-2015, and usually sometime mid-July is when the new figures come out to see if it stays the same or if it goes up a little bit. So you want to make sure to report back to see what the new numbers will be. Okay, and we're down to our last question here. Can I attend session 1 if I'm not in honors? The answer to that is yes. That's just basically indicating that if you are in the honors program, you'll have to attend that session. But students outside of the honors program can also attend that session as well. Okay. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope we were able to give you some good information. I know there was a few questions we weren't sure of the answers to, so hopefully you wrote down our contact information and just call us or email us and we'll get back to you right away and try to figure out the answer to your question. Coming up next from the 7 p.m. to the 8 p.m. hour is a great session. We're having a current student panel. These are students that go to Rowan right now. They are not scripted in how they have to answer questions. So it's going to be a great opportunity for you to ask questions and for you to get answers from students that currently go here about what it's like to be a Rowan student. They don't have a PowerPoint presentation or any of that. They're strictly just going to be up here answering your questions. So make sure to think of some questions and then send them in to us. I would like to thank Ms. Gordy for joining in and giving us financial aid information. I'm going to log off, and then at 7 o'clock, which is in just a few minutes from now, we're going to log back on and we'll get it going with the student panel. So thank you very much for all your questions.
Thank you.